So there you go. If you're the number one contender, it means nothing. If you have upset the brass, if you have upset the company, the promotion, you're not fighting for the belt. So it's not the best fighting the best. It's not the number one contender fights the champion. It's if you are in their good graces at that moment in time, you will fight for the belt. Just ask Arman Tsarukyan. And by the way, this has happened before. UFC 177, Renan Barão loses the title to TJ Dillashaw. He is scheduled to fight TJ Dillashaw in Sacramento, UFC 177. On weigh-in day, he slips, he hits his head, he's ruled out. Joe Soto steps in to fight TJ Dillashaw. Renan Barão has to fight one fight. He beats Mitch Gagnon, he beats him, he gets another crack at TJ Dillashaw.
I've only ever done what the UFC's asked me to do, and every contract they've put in front of me I've signed. I've never missed weight, I've never pulled out, I've never fucked a fight up like some certain dickheads. So, you know, that's probably the reason I'm in this position now.
Let's start with this, because for as much as you get for people saying like, oh, he might not deserve it, this and that, you've always said, you're like, look, bro, I fight whoever's put in front of me. Whatever name comes in front of me on a contract, that's who I fight.
You know, I'm going to turn up and I'm going to fight.
What do you think about that? So I guess we're not going to mention his name, but
Posh boy.
well, yes, but because there's a lot of people advocating for him. But do you think because of what had happened with the Islam Makhachev fight, even though he just beat Dan Hooker, he headlined, he's kind of been slid out of the way?
It's not even just that though, is it? You know what I mean? People talk about my last 3 wins. Yeah, and Tony Ferguson, he was on his way out. Well, Dariush looks about 65. You know what I mean? He's got a full head of grey hair. He beat Dariush. He didn't beat Charles Oliveira.
I said, okay, I'm not fake like you. He's in the live, one person, in the social media, another person. I don't want to be fake. I'm real. If I want to say something to you, I'll say the same thing, you know.
Do you have any idea what's going on with him right now? He hasn't fought since June, and we don't know, you know, Charles has fought.
He's trying to find easy fight and to defend that belt and go up, and UFC trying to make him to be a superstar and defend the title, because right now he cannot go up to the 170 because he didn't defend the title.
Nobody saw this coming. Not the hardcore fans tracking every move in the lightweight division, not rival fighters watching from the sidelines, and definitely not the UFC executives who thought everything was locked in stone. Then, out of nowhere, Arman Tsarukyan made the call that flipped everything upside down, pulling out of what was supposed to be his career-defining title shot. By the way, before we dive in, 99.8% of the people watching right now aren't subscribed. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming MMA news. And without further ado, let's dive into it. In an instant, the entire lightweight division shifted. What first looked like a routine injury issue, the kind fans brush off all the time in MMA, quietly turned into one of the most politically messy situations the division has seen in years. This wasn't just about timing anymore. It was about power, perception, and trust. And here's the part most people missed. Behind closed doors at UFC headquarters, this move triggered way more than scheduling headaches. Insiders believe it lit the fuse on a personal grudge that Dana White has been carrying ever since that phone call came through. One decision, one moment, and suddenly everything changed. That pullout didn't just delay Tsarukyan's expected rise to the belt. No chance. It may have completely rewritten the path of his career in ways fans are only now starting to understand. If you listen closely to how Dana White talks about Arman today, the tone tells the real story. The words he chooses, the body language, the pauses, it all sends a loud message to anyone paying attention. Whatever happened behind the scenes that night, Dana White hasn't let it go, and he's made sure the entire MMA world feels it.
The problem with the whole scenario is, when Ilia Topuria won the belt, Paddy Pimblett was in the arena with Justin Gaethje and so many others. Paddy goes into the octagon. Now, everybody gets this visual of Paddy and Ilia, when in reality, I don't know that Paddy, and he's great, has a resume that has earned him that title fight over Arman Tsarukyan, because now Arman has beaten Beneil Dariush, Charles Oliveira, and Dan Hooker. Patty hasn't lost, but Patty beat Michael Chandler. So the resume doesn't match. But again, the visual of them in the octagon feels like that was a #1 contender. Arman wasn't there. So by winning Saturday, he earned what he already had back in January. But now the champion, the great Ilia Topuria, is saying, I want to fight Paddy Pimblett.
Here's the thing, though. To really understand why this situation exploded the way it did, why it became a massive issue instead of just another fighter pulling out, you've got to rewind the clock, way back to the exact moment everything fell apart. That's where this story truly starts, and that's where the tension that's still hanging over Arman Tsarukyan's career began building. When you look at what followed, step by step, the UFC's reaction suddenly makes sense. You start seeing why Dana White took it personally, why the organization moved the way it did, and why this wasn't just bad timing. This was a chain reaction that nobody inside the UFC wanted to deal with. Once you understand that moment, the rest of the story clicks into place fast.
Where it gets interesting is when they use the UFC as the example. As our great friend New York Rick pointed out on social media a couple times, they'll use the UFC as an example of saying, like, look, in the UFC, the best, the #1 contender fights for the belt, and that's how it will be, that's how it will always be when we're in charge. As we know, it's never been like that, especially not now. It's worse now than ever. Just ask a guy named Arman Tsarukyan. And so you'll have a situation where last week, Nick Khan is telling all the media that he spoke to, in the UFC, the best fight, the best, the #1 contender fights for the belt. And you have Arman Tsarukyan, who is the #1 contender in the UFC's lightweight division. Not only is he not fighting for the belt next, he is not even in the interim title fight to determine who's the interim champion, and we suspect that the interim champion will then fight the champion. And when asked about that, what does Dana White say? I don't care about the number.
When Arman Tsarukyan made that call and pulled out of his title opportunity, the fight meant to define his career, it wasn't a small inconvenience for the UFC. It was a full-blown disaster from both a business and promotional angle. The promotion was suddenly scrambling. No main event for a pay-per-view card, no backup plan ready, and thousands of fans who had already bought tickets and booked flights expecting a title fight. The pressure was unreal. That's when Renato Moicano, who wasn't even in training camp, stepped up on insanely short notice. In MMA, that's a dangerous move, career-wise and health-wise. To make it happen, the UFC had to cough up a massive emergency payout just to keep the card alive. We're talking about serious money, way above what Moicano normally makes, the kind of cash you only offer when you're desperate and out of options. And that didn't sit well with Dana White, not even a little. From Dana's perspective, this whole situation cost him money, control, and credibility in one night, and that's not something he forgets easily.
Arman went out and did some extremely heavy lifting in fighting Dan Hooker. You guys, I fear, forgot how that fight got made. But that fight got made, and a lot of people were going, hey, wait a minute. I thought Tsarukyan was going to fight Ilia. Well, a lot of people thought that he was, but time started going by. Ilia said, I got whatever going on. I'm waiting until 2026. Tsarukyan said, I'm not. Tsarukyan went and did a grappling match and signed up for an MMA fight, which turned out to be against Hooker, and Dana White just goes, look, enough. I respect it. Whoever comes out of it is our #1 contender. So let's stay on Tsarukyan. You got to remember that that was established going into that fight.
Rumors from people close to the situation say Dana White felt blindsided, like he'd been pushed into a corner with no escape. And Dana absolutely hates surprises that make him look unprepared. He had spent weeks promoting this fight, selling Arman Tsarukyan as the next big threat at lightweight, the young lion ready to take the throne. Then suddenly, with no warning, the challenger vanished, leaving Dana to explain the mess publicly. Staff members who were there described Dana's reaction as instant resentment, like something snapped the moment that phone call came in, a switch flipped, and how he viewed the situation changed completely. Then came the final insult. Renato Moicano took that massive emergency check, stepped into the octagon, and didn't last long in the actual fight. That only made things worse in Dana's eyes. To Dana, that night felt like he'd been embarrassed on a massive stage. Whether the injury was legit or not stopped mattering. The money was gone, the moment was public, and in the UFC, moments like that don't disappear quietly.
It was gotta be me. No way they can give petty people a fight. Everybody gonna laugh at them because I'm #1 contender. I proved it again, and what do they want from me? And I went there, performed, just destroyed Dan Hooker, and they wanna put the guy who is fake.
After the chaos settled, Arman Tsarukyan did what any top contender would do. He went to the media calling for a title shot and pushing for respect. On paper, it made sense, but behind the scenes, it didn't land well at all. There's a razor-thin line between confidence and entitlement in the UFC, and many decision-makers felt Arman crossed it. The constant interviews, the public demands, they started rubbing executives the wrong way. Then came the real problem. Tsarukyan went inactive for over a year. No fights, no momentum, no urgency. To the UFC, that wasn't patience, it looked like defiance. During that time, fighters like Charles Oliveira stayed active, took risks, and kept the division moving. Meanwhile, Arman stayed on the sidelines, turning down matchups and waiting for the perfect moment. From the UFC's view, that was unacceptable. Rankings don't grant special treatment, and money doesn't buy leverage. If anything, it creates tension. When Dana White was asked if Arman deserved a title shot, his response shocked everyone. He flat out said he didn't care. No hesitation, no sugarcoating, just cold dismissal. That moment changed everything. The message was clear. Arman would have to earn his way back from scratch. No shortcuts, no favors. Now he's stuck in a brutal limbo, too dangerous for contenders to want to fight, but blocked from big opportunities. It's not about skill, it's about politics. Arman Tsarukyan is elite, no question, but in the UFC, talent alone isn't enough. Skill and politics go hand in hand, and right now, he's caught between both forces.